Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Aaron.
Hello.
Today, we have a very special guest. You may know him from Dishin Days. We have Justin with us. Hi, Justin.
Hey guys. Hi everyone.
Got a celebrity here.
I wish. Yeah.
So tonight, we're talking about the Aaron Spelling 90s daytime soap opera, Sunset Beach. We watched the first week of episodes, and we have stuff to say. So roll the credits, and we'll jump right in. So, Aaron, I know you've never seen Sunset Beach prior to this.
No.
Justin, did you watch it from the premiere when it was on back in the day? Or did you
Yes.
Nice.
Definitely.
See, I wasn't really into soap operas then because I wasn't allowed to watch them.
Okay.
But I do remember watching a couple of episodes around the time Passions came on. And I remember being drawn in by the characters of Olivia, Caitlin, and Cole, because you know what happened with that.
I remember Olivia and Cole because I remember the actor that plays Cole, Eddie
Sabrin.
Yeah.
And I remember him.
And Annie, because I just remember her fiery red hair.
Yeah.
And I remember a character of Gabby who was cheating on her boyfriend with his cousin who's a priest.
Yeah.
Ricardo, and I was like, do people know about this?
This show's right on brand with my style.
And then it ended like 6 months later, and I was like, oh,
I know. I have to thank you guys because I have been getting my entire Sunset Beach life. I've been like in a state of nostalgia all week. I had no idea it was on YouTube until you sent me the link, but ever since then, I've had it on repeat. I've been watching it, like work's been really slow, so I've been watching it steadily. I think I'm on like episode, actually I was just watching right before I logged in. I'm on episode 31 of the first season, and I'm slowly going through them. Yeah, I've just been churning them out. It's so funny how I like the nostalgia was coming back, and I was like, oh my god, all these characters and all these people, and I remembered a lot of it, but there was some stuff where I like remember when you messaged me, and I was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I remember a lot of it. I'm not sure if I can like talk about it. But watching it, like it all came back like that, and like stuff came up, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, that person was on the show, and this person and that person, and like. Yeah, I have been, again, I have to thank you. I've been getting my life this past week. It's been a great ride down memory lane.
It was a great first week. Like,
yeah.
I was watching it and John was like, this was a daytime. I was like, yeah, but because it kind of paces more like a prime time. I mean,
it paced like his nighttime soaps. Yeah.
I think eventually they were like, oh, we need to slow down, because I do remember it kind of the pacing changing a little bit.
Yeah,
but they didn't know what they were doing. They were kind of getting footing. It was Aaron Spelling. So
watching it, I know I was like, oh my god, a lot happened in a week. I was like, if this would have been a regular soap opera, this would have been stretched out over like a month or two. Like a lot happened. Yeah. I mean, it definitely was filmed like one of Aaron's nighttime soaps, which he's famous for. And
I kept waiting for it to go from like they were on location. So I kept waiting for it to go from like the location to just set where nothing. And I was like, oh, okay, they had a good budget that first week.
Yeah.
I don't know what last week one. So
yeah.
I was trying to remember that too. I'm like, oh, they have a lot of outside beach stuff. I was like, I wonder if that stays like that or if they just go to sets at some point.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like it's at least for a while, I think it stays like that. Because they actually shot in Seal Beach, which isn't too far outside of LA. So yeah, you can tell definitely Southern California coastal town.
So the opening, first of all, it reminded me of very 90s. It reminded me of Baywatch with the shot over the lake and then the lifeguards.
Yeah.
I've watched these earlier episodes a few times because like I always go really hard and then I get burnt out and I stop. And my brain, like, instead of just picking up where I started, I'm like, oh, now I have to start all over. So I've seen like the first probably 30 episodes multiple times.
Yeah.
But I'm really into Casey this time around.
I was kind of, even though he's a dirtbag, I was into Tim. I was like, of course. Of course.
Tim's kind of growing on me this one. I'm like, you know what? He's not as bad. Like, if you like, I'm not saying go back to him or date him, but I was like, you know what? It can like forgive him. Be his friend. Like he's he's cute.
I found myself justifying. I'm like, well, she's talking to someone on the internet. I mean, yeah, it's her best friend maid of honor, so it's a little worse. But
it's so like, funny too, like how perspective changes. Like if like watching this in '97 when I was much younger, and then watching it now, like it changes the way you look at certain characters or other. Like before, I wasn't that much into Annie, but now like watching it, I'm like, I love this character. And what Sarah Buxton is doing.
Oh, I love her. Right
yeah. Now. And before, I just think I sort of relegated her to villain status, and I like to dislike her, I guess. But now I'm like, no, I really like her. I love what she's doing with this character. I love sort of her fireness and spunk. And it's so funny how like different perspective change. And like Tim, like I'm okay with Tim now. Before I would have been like, don't talk to him. Like, yeah.
Also, coming from a small town like Meg and Tim would have come from, that's something you do as soon as like around that age you get married.
Yeah.
Because what else do you do in a small town besides get married and have kids? So I bet at the time this soap really related to a lot of people who felt stuck in their lives and were like, oh my gosh, it would be just like Meg, hop in the car and just drive to Sunset Beach.
Mm-hmm. I'm from a not small town, but small-ish city. I'm from Rhode Island, and kind of similar. It's like you have aspirations of getting out or going other places, and yeah.
Well, can we talk about the fact that Carol Potter from 90210?
Yes.
I forgot she was. I'm like, oh, she just pops up, like just boom.
Yeah.
I like the little gray streak. It looks good on her.
Yeah, it does. And she becomes a bigger character later on, which is nice.
That's what I was wondering. She nice. Did.
Yeah.
So I was saying to Aaron that I've been humming the Sunset Beach theme song all day. I said, but not the one that you're seeing. I think the one that they have now only lasts maybe 6 months, and then the one that I think most people remember comes on. They actually play what's going to be the theme song in a lot of episodes. Mm-hmm. So when they change it, Aaron, you're going to be like, oh, I know this song.
I love the like stock music too. I feel like it's very like I don't know. Before I would kind of be like, oh, this is so cheesy, but now I like it. I'm like, okay.
A few times I Shazam and was like, is this a real song?
Yeah, right. It kind of, more so than like other soaps where you can tell it's like made up music for the soap. This one I'm kind of like, okay, was that a real song? Can I like Shazam this or
The nostalgia, like the whole computer cafe thing. I remember when those were. I was like, I remember those things.
Okay, so I don't. Maybe because I wasn't old enough to go to a computer cafe. Were they as big as TV made them seem?
I don't know if they were as popular, but they were definitely around.
Yeah, because I remember like Days had .com for the teens. That was like their computer cafe. Mm-hmm. But now anybody could just bring their laptop to a Starbucks and hook it up to the Wi-Fi, and that's a computer cafe.
Yeah.
Meg's whole bag, I don't know how to wear down. Her computer was like this big. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's the one thing you notice about like the technology, the sort of outdatedness is definitely the technology where like the graphics on the computer screen or the emails. It's like, and how it's so nondescript. They're like, we just met on the internet. I was like, wait, what internet did you meet on? What chat room? Like, it's also like, we just found each other. Like, you were both just randomly on the internet.
The thing I love about their internet thing is she meets, he's SB.
Yeah.
And she's going around like, oh, look, SB. I'm like, girl, you're going to see SB on everything you're at.
She's like, it's Casey. Well, we're jumping ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I can't help it.
Meg catches her fiance, Tim, cheating on her with her best friend / maid of honor. So she decides now's the time to leave Kansas. She jumps in her red car and she drives off. And the mom is kind of smirking because she's like, oh, she's getting out. I always wanted to get out.
Yeah.
Next time we see Meg, she's on the plane babbling about SB to a stranger.
And he's just like,
like, love stinks.
She's like, hold my champagne, please. I need to send him a quick message from the flight. It's like,
I've never been on a plane with a phone like that. So I'm like, I wonder what that was like. Could you really just plug your computer into the,
Back in dial-up days, right?
So when she finally gets to Sunset Beach, she's on the beach with her luggage, running through the water. She's probably never seen an ocean before.
Right.
It kind of reminds me of Valine from Knots Landing. We get a shot of some of the other characters. We see Antonio and Paula, who are beat cops, and they're walking the
Ricardo and Paula.
Now, I don't like him.
You don't?
I don't like Ricardo.
Oh,
Is
Ricardo.
Wait, the cop.
Yeah. Antonio's the later brother. Yeah, Ricardo is. Yeah.
The boyfriend who becomes a detective.
Yeah.
Who's
Antonio
like,
might be the priest I was talking about later on.
Yeah, Antonio's the priest later on. Yeah.
He's like, let's tell your mom you're moving in. They'll be fun. And she's like, oh, yeah, it does it. And then he gets mad. I'm like, you should have said, just kidding. Like, after you said that.
Because he was joking and she was like, oh, he wants me to move in. So she like took it upon herself.
No, it's so funny. That's another thing I noticed about the age thing, where before it was like, oh, Ricardo's such a bad guy. He's like using her. And now that I'm watching it, I'm like, they repeatedly keep saying they've only been together like 5 or 6 months. And I was like, Paula's way too clingy for like 5 or 6 months. She's expecting like some big commitment. She's expecting a ring. She's wanting to move in. I'm like, girl, calm down. Like, it's so funny, like perspective, like how age changes her. Yeah. I was like, I didn't remember Paula to be this clingy before. It was like, oh, Paula, like he's doing her wrong. Like, Ricardo, how dare you? Now it's like, okay, I kind of see his side a lot more in this than hers.
I mean, we had a pregnancy scare in the second episode, and we didn't even see the pregnancy scare. We just saw the aftermath.
That's how quick paced it is. It's like we don't even need to shoot it; just shoot the aftermath of it. Don't spend a week like her looking at a pregnancy test and pondering.
Her mom is not a fan. She even like gave her a VHS tape of the Lisa show, which I remember that show. I was like, oh my god!
I remember when we used to pass around VHS.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I had to miss a Desperate Housewives. This is before I got TiVo. They had TiVo, but we couldn't get. My journalism teacher taped it for me and brought a VCR tape so I could watch it. I was like, that's realistic.
Yeah, it was totally. I cracked up and she's like, have you seen Lisa today? And she's like, I have the tape for you. She's like, here, take it. It's like, what?
I remember that show coming on like After Days and like I guess at that point Another World. Or even Sally Jessy Raphael was still on at one point.
Yeah, right. I know.
But yeah, so she's not a fan, and she's somebody something
Lee
Taylor.
Yeah.
See, I know her from Passions.
Yeah, she's from She eventually shows up on Passions later.
Catherine.
Yeah.
She's been on a bunch of.
There's a couple of Passions people on.
Yeah.
John Riley played out the second Alistair. The guy that kept helping Tiffany. He filled in for Fox, I think, at one point.
That's right. That's where you're. Yeah.
He's also the boyfriend in Bride of Chucky.
That's right.
And I think he's one of the Beverly Hills Housewives' husband.
Really?
I think I read that. I don't watch that version.
I don't know.
Franchise, but
Ooh.
I think I read that somewhere.
Yeah.
But
and then of course Mrs. Wallace. I don't care what she on. I love that lady, Catherine Noon.
Catherine Noon. Yeah,
I love her.
Oh, she was so great on Passions.
She's so funny.
She's great here too. Yeah.
Okay, so when we first meet Bet, which is Kathleen Noon, and Annie's telling her about her father cutting her off and having her followed, she had a line that was like, "A pity that your father's a blood." Not an ex-lover instead of a blood relation.
Yeah.
She's like, how delicious.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
Good times.
But so Annie is basically lying to her father, saying that she's been going to law school and she's just been having a party. So he cuts her off, repossesses all her stuff. So she asked her Aunt Bet to help her get her trust fund. which I wasn't clear on what happened. She went to the bank, but what happened that she couldn't get it?
Yeah, I feel like they were in the process of getting it, and then I think Dell caught wind and basically like called it off, kind of a thing. So it seemed like they were almost to the finish line of like getting a check or something, and then Dell, I guess, got wind and like stopped it essentially.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And on the side, Annie's also been flirting with her really good friend, who's her neighbor, SB.
Yes.
AKA Ben.
Yeah.
Who used to be with a woman named Maria, who is allegedly dead, and Ricardo's sister. So Ricardo is not a fan of Ben because he thinks that Ben killed his sister.
Mm-hmm.
So wait, Maria's not dead?
Friend. Huh?
Maria's not dead?
Wait, I don't know. What do you think?
Should be yelling spoiler alert. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just going to say this. In about 6 months, James Riley becomes a creative consultant.
Oh my God, I love it. It's going to be great. Okay. We have knighted me of James Riley. He raised me pretty much.
Yeah, right.
And he's also messing around with.
Dead? Yeah.
What was that? Sorry.
I was saying it's a soap. Is anyone ever really dead yet?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's why I love it.
Yeah, so she flirts with Ben a lot, and he doesn't want to ruin the friendship. He keeps pushing her away. He kind of keeps having flashbacks of hearing his dead wife's voice, screaming for help. Meanwhile, we have Tiffany, the homeless teenager, played by Adrienne Franz, who's probably better known for Bold and the Beautiful.
Let's just say I don't like Tiffany. I don't like her.
Do you recognize her, Aaron, from Beyond Salem?
Oh yeah, she was the one at the sex party.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even make the connection. Yeah. Oh, that's right.
I like her. I like the actress. I just don't like that little brat. I can't help it. I'm a Meg fan. I've already declared my true Matthew Teresa from Passion. I'm all for Hopeless Slut, something like that.
Tiffany's kind of a hard character to like in the beginning. Like you kind of feel like you can sympathize with her a little bit, but she kind of teeters the line between being sort of villain, but also like spunky, scrappy sort of kid trying to make it kind of a thing. So you feel for her then, and then some of the decisions she makes, you're like, oh, come on, Tiff.
Yeah, she has these moments with Mark where she's being defensive and acting like she doesn't need help, and then she'll kind of reel it in and be like, thank you. Like she'll come to her senses and
I did like when she saw the cashier check and was like, I miss the days when $1,000 meant a lot. I was just like, oh, remember those days? Now it means nothing.
Well, to a homeless teen, $1,000.
That's I'm just saying. I just miss the days $1,000 meant something.
I wanted to ask Greg if you could anybody could just cash a cashier's check without ID, but he was asleep already, so I couldn't ask him.
Oh, checks.
Yeah.
And she got her laptop, but I think what's his name? Mark returned all that stuff.
Yeah, Mark.
Oh yeah, she got her laptop back. I like though in her mind she's gonna take these letters and pretend to be Dorothy from Kansas.
Looking back, I was like, okay, I'm glad because I'm sort of at the part where it's sort of getting revealed a little bit, and that's episode 30, so it's like a month in. So I'm glad they didn't drag this, but I was like, okay, how are they gonna keep on one hand, we find out in the first episode, Mark knows who SB is, and you're kind of like, well, how does he know? And then that takes forever to come out. But I'm also like, all this time that Meg and Ben spend together, how does not that SB would come up or Dorothy from Kansas, but how did they not connect and say oh, we're he never asked her where she was from. He never put two and two together. There's this random new woman in town from Kansas. How that never comes up at all this time they spend together throughout the week or
I was, especially when she starts working for him, I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna find be like, oh, you're from Kansas, this is weird because he knows Dorothy's on her way
and he knows it or he gets suspicious about Tiffany and does she take this from someone? How does she have these letters? So it's like it's in the air, and it never neither one of them ever puts it together. Or why doesn't Meg think it? Like I know she's stuck on KC, but when you just assume everyone was SB you ran into, like you don't know. Like
well, she kept asking everybody, do you know somebody with the initials SB?
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, you're in Sunset Beach.
Like she was literally looking for someone with SB, like that was their name. Like
That's the one thing I don't like when soaps do is when they make us seem like we're not intelligent. I'm like, okay, come on. Give us some credit.
Yeah.
But yet somehow it was still entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though it was a little dumbed down.
It's funny because I'm not mad at she thought it was Casey. I'm like, okay, we'll go for it. Even if he's not, who cares? Like he's still a great guy. Like would you be like, oh well, I came here to find SB, but I have this great guy in front of me. Like, who cares? Like, yeah.
Well, okay, so Tiffany ended up robbing Meg, and Meg ended up falling off the pier. She was saved by Casey. He brought her to the hospital. This is where we meet the doctor. What's her name? She's played by Kelly Hugh.
Yeah,
Ray.
Yeah.
I like her.
She was on the Vampire Diaries, Aaron. She was in the first season. She was Catherine's companion.
That is her.
And she's from like is she Nash Bridges? I think she did. She did like a prime. I think it was Nash Bridges because she ends up leaving Sunset Beach to do one because I think Nash Bridges or something like that, some primetime show. So yeah, that's why she's here for a little while, but then she eventually like disappears.
She was a girl. Sorry, I love that character.
And the X-Men movies, she was in X2, I think, the second X-Men movie.
Oh, wow.
She's like really Wolverine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, I forgot about that. She has a very distinct voice. Like when I hear her voice, I definitely turn because I'm like, I know that she's from Sunset Beach.
Yeah.
I like her. She's a little off-putting with Casey. He's flirting with her. No matter what she says to him, he's like, I'm in love.
Yeah.
So they end up going to an auction and going in on a house together.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is so insane, right?
Like you don't know this person, but let's buy a house together.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it is beachfront property.
I know, right? You know what? If I was in that situation and you realize, like, okay, like I don't have enough here, I might just have to go in with someone. Casey or Ray aren't too bad choices.
And they both kind of agree that they need roommates to afford it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that's kind of like in your mid-20s, maybe even late 20s, that's something you would do. But
I know, because at 34, if the thought of me having a roommate, I get, I like my space.
No, a 4-bedroom beach house with like a garage apartment, like sign me up. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So they go to this bar called The Deep, which apparently is underneath the Java Web, the computer cafe, because Ben owns both of them.
Yeah.
Very 90210.
Yes. Peach Pit.
Right?
Yeah.
Peach
Pit, yeah.
And Casey tells them about the house, and he says he needs roommate, and Meg's like, "Oh, me," and then Mark's like, "Wait, how much?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, how much?"
Okay, she's not the luckiest girl. Like she gets there, is presumably, I guess, staying in a motel while she like figures out who SB is. Like gets robbed, sort of recuperates, finds a place to live and a job, all within like less than 48 hours. Yeah.
She's like the unluckiest lucky girl ever.
You know what? It was. I gotta
all
say,
cute men too. All cute men.
I gotta say, Tiffany really did her a favor then, because she would have never. None of this would have came if she didn't fall off the pier and
yeah, right.
It had to make you like Tiffany now.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, right.
So Tiffany's there kind of stalking Ben, and Meg is fixated on Casey, and Ray shows up, and she kind of gets jealous when she sees Ray and Casey dancing. So she goes upstairs to talk to Ben about the job. Mm-hmm. And he asks for like ID for proof of like citizenship. And of course he gets distracted by his favorite song being played by Tiffany. And I'm like, okay, so she gets the job and he just like never gets her information for Social Security. I'm like, well, he's just like, yeah, not you.
The adult in you is overthinking
Yeah.
it, Tom.
I know.
Or never once says like, "Hey, where are you from, by the way? Where'd you move from?
Yeah, right.
Where's home?" Yeah.
They're both so in their head about their own issues that they're not seeing what's right in front of them.
Very errant spelling.
Yes.
Oh, we should also say Meg, played by Megan Ward. I always want to say Susan Ward, but that's a different actress.
Susan
was on
no.
Wait, is it Susan Ward?
No,
I think it's Susan Ward.
Yeah, it is Susan.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Susan.
She's in this movie called The In Crowd.
Yeah, it is
and
Susan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was on Malibu Shores the year before this, so casting his former casts in different things.
Oh, I forgot she was on there.
Mm-hmm.
And Randy Spelling's eventually on this.
Oh yeah, he shows up in like episode 5.
You know, if he couldn't get Tori, he was gonna put Randy.
I know, right? Gotta have a spelling child in there, yeah.
But you know what? I wonder if Tori even makes a cameo at some point, because sometimes she does that.
Right. Yeah. She'll stop by, yeah.
So so one of my favorite characters, Olivia Richards.
She was not in it that much at first. I kept going, when does Olivia show up? Like her first
episode. She was in the first episode, and then she wasn't for a while.
Yeah, she's drinking by the pool. Or I'm like, oh, okay. We don't see her for 2 more days. I'm like, what was the point of that scene? Letting us know she's sad. Poor sad rich girl.
So she apparently has been having an affair with Annie's father.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants her to run away with him. Mm-hmm. But she's afraid to leave her husband because she does love him. He just doesn't show it. So there's this like internal struggle, like, I want to be with him, but does he love me?
Well, he seems like he cares more about Annie than his own wife.
Right? He was nicer to her than he was.
Right. I was just like, oh, y'all having like a secret affair that we're going to find out about soon?
Yeah.
It seemed like, that there was more going on there.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Season 2.
So Annie's basically just been saying, I wish my father was dead. I'll kill him all week. Basically setting her up to be the prime suspect in his murder.
Even on the phone, classic soap. Dad's on the phone with the police, and it's, I'm going to kill you. I'm like,
right.
Smart.
Asking the cop that she's sleeping with, how do you shoot a gun?
Yes, Eddie, who I forgot had such a bigger role in this. Like I remembered she was like messing with the cop in the beginning, and then like as the episodes go on, I was like, oh yeah, he was like a big part of the show. Like I had sort of forgotten, but yeah, he was around as much.
I feel bad for Eddie, because he's all into Annie, and he's getting used like in the hot tub. SB's I'm just gonna call him SB from now on. SB's watching.
The actor, I can't remember his name, but he was on The Young and the Restless in the early 90s for quite a few years.
Oh yeah.
I think he played a doctor. I want to say he was involved in the Sheila Loren story, but I'm not sure. I could be lying. I read it on Wikipedia.
He's good on this.
But, so Annie goes to see her father, and Olivia and what's the husband's name?
Gregory.
I should know that. That's my boyfriend's name. See her, and she drops a fake gun. Yes. Do we believe that it was fake?
No.
It could have went off, and she would have still said, "That's right." Like, what's this hole in the wall? Yeah. I don't know. Not for me. It's a fake gun. I thought she would have believed it.
Yeah, right. But that's when Olivia asks Gregory to talk to him about not cutting her off, and he's like extra nice to her. But Olivia's like, I think you can kiss that bye-bye.
Yeah.
So the week pretty much ends with Dell getting shot. That's the big first week cliffhanger by somebody in a black cloak.
Yes.
I was shocked they killed him like that fast.
Were you?
Yes. Because he's a well-known actor. Soap world. He was on General Hospital forever.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't watch it. I'm sorry. But yeah, but I love that they end on a cliffhanger because now I'm like, okay, Tommy, we need to watch this. I can't wait.
Yeah, it was a good week. Yeah, and I won't say because I don't know if you guys how far or how much you remember, but I remembered instantly who the killer was, and I was like, oh, I forget like the twists and turns, and it's really well done. It's definitely a well done mystery.
So our friend Don said that the actor's name is Peter Barton, and he played Scott Granger on The Young and the Restless.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you, Don. And he also said there's Christine's brother and Lauren's husband who got with Sheila Carter. Okay, so I wasn't completely off.
Thanks, Don.
So,
and Candace is waving at us.
Hey, Candy.
Hey, Candace. So, Aaron, do you think Annie did it?
No.
Okay. Do you have any suspects in mind?
Well, they only set it up to be two people at the moment, Olivia or Annie.
Okay.
Is it the aunt? Did the aunt kill him?
Well, not to quote Tomorrow's a New Day, but we still haven't met all the suspects yet.
As I was watching this sub, I was like, I'm so glad I know I've never seen this because so many like you can tell I'm a product of like if James Riley and Aaron Spelling had a kid. I was like, oh my gosh.
Just stay tuned. Honestly, continue with it. It's so good. The mystery is really so interesting, and it wraps in other people who you're like, wait, they're connected to this somehow, and like, it's very well done. It's very well done.
I love a good whodunit.
Yeah, and this one will surprise you. I'll leave it at that. It'll surprise you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I remember who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did it take to find out? Am I on a scale of
I'm trying to
first
remember.
week of Sunset Beach to Passions? Am I going to be waiting like 2 years?
No. Oh no.
No, it's
only on 3 years.
It's definitely within 6 months, maybe sooner.
Because like once you find out who it is, it sort of opens. It's like this seems like a contained story, but it's more like an umbrella story. So once you figure this one out, it opens up other storylines that continue throughout the show.
Yeah.
Typical Aaron Spelling.
So, how would you rate the first week, guys? 1 out of 10.
I'll give it an 8.
An 8? All right.
I didn't care for the dream sequence that the cop had. What was her name?
What dream?
Paula?
Yeah. Her mom, like the day, like later that day or something, she had a flashback, sorry, of the mom giving her the tape to watch it again.
Oh.
That was your one gripe, the flashback?
It was pointless. It'd be like in Passions when Teresa says, I love Ethan. I've got to tell him, girl, you say that every episode. We don't need the flashback from the episode before. So that's yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have been, because I think in where my time zone, it came on at 10 in the morning.
Oh wow.
I think so. I would have scheduled my college classes around this if I was in college. That and Days, of course.
In New York, it came on at 12. Days was on at 1, and then Another World was on at 2. / Passions was on at 2.
Yeah, this was afternoon for me, so I feel like I used to maybe get home and like catch the tail end of it, because I feel like I remember this one distinctly because it came before Passions, but also I remember like watching it pretty much all the way through. So I'm pretty sure I used to tape it. Yeah, this is I think when I start to get into like taping soaps and like watching them later on or for the weekend or whatever.
Oh, see, Candace says it came on at 11 a.m. where she was at.
But wow,
That is my kind of biology teacher.
yes,
I wish I had that biology teacher.
yeah.
I don't know how you still learn biology.
It was background noise. Just have it on the TV.
I think you could learn more.
As you're dissecting a frog, you're watching Sunset Beach.
That's the kind of teacher I would be.
Oh God, too funny.
How would you rate it, Justin, the first week?
You know, I'm gonna give it a solid 9. I was like, I told you, I was in heaven, like reliving the show. like I said, what really surprised me was the fast pace of it, and I was like, oh my God, like they were moving along with this, and then I remember I was like, this is Aaron Spelling, and it's so funny because I was like, okay, I don't remember the ratings again. It only lasted 3 seasons, so they obviously weren't amazing. But I'm like, I wonder if you put it on now, how people would respond to it being that fast paced. Would they love it? Because now I feel like people want the attention span is slower, and that's one thing you get about complaints about soap operas. They're slow moving. So I wonder now if this came on, if it maybe slightly updated, but would it really resonate with people how fast the pace is? Or yeah, it's so interesting.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
I bet you the ratings were probably not so great for that time, but they're probably like amazing for now.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, comparatively. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, also the competition too. Every network had at least 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had actual competition then.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was back when there was at least 10 to 12 soaps on.
Mm-hmm.
And to be I was alive during that time, but to be alive enough to where I could comprehend the
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised this is like why isn't this on Peacock? Why like I know there was talk of a reunion at some point, maybe a couple years ago.
Really, I'm shocked no one does anything with Sunset Beach. We had someone from the UK ask us to cover Sunset Beach last year.
Wow.
When are y'all going to cover the Sunset Beach? I was like,
wow.
This 3 seasons.
I know, right?
So, like, wow.
Because they probably had it, and it probably aired in prime time where they live. So
That's
everybody
true.
watched it.
That's another thing I want to say about it is it's even though it was short-lived, I think there's something really special about starting a soap opera from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us have seen that with like, especially with like Passions or like some of the older ones. Like I obviously wasn't around then or born then, so you kind of couldn't get into them from the beginning. Especially in the time period they're made. So I think there's something special that resonates with people about Sunset Beach or Passions or some of the later ones that maybe didn't work out. But especially for a soap to watch it from the beginning all the way through to be like, okay, I watched this in real time for 3 years. And even though I was sad it was gone, it's nice that you got to be there for the whole duration of it. And, it's like watching a show that, different than a show, I think, where like you're investing so much more time in. I don't know how many episodes there were fully, but for 3 years, every day, I mean, yeah.
That's why I was so excited for Passions, was because I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I grew up with Days. Days has been there for as long as, my great grandmother watched it, my grandma watches it, my mom watches it.
Yeah.
And so it continued on with me, of course. But Passions, it was like, oh, I get to see a soap from like the beginning.
Yeah.
It should be on when I'm 60. I mean, it didn't,
Yeah, right.
But
so Candace said it's under the estate of Spelling division, but if they did bring it back, I wonder if Charles Pratt, Josh Griffith, and Bob Guzzo would return to it.
Well, if it's under Spelling's division, then I bet it would be on Paramount Plus. If it was Paramount
Plus.
Probably.
That's how you know you're a fan of a soap, is when you start to know where it's going to end up. Like Passions is going to be on Peacock.
Yeah, let's get this.
NBC
let's get
show.
these reruns.
I know.
Because it's it's 25 years, right? Is the anniversary?
20, yeah. The 6th, January 6th was 25 years.
I don't know if you guys had an opportunity, but I've been seeing Soap Opera Digest has been interviewing some of the cast this past week, so like Leslie Ann Down did an interview the guy who plays Tim did one. Clive Robertson, who plays
Oh.
Ben Evans, did. Yeah, they all did these little spurts of like, hey, what was it like to shoot that? Little sort of one-page things that were interesting. They're like, oh, it was nice to see like who keeps in contact with each other, and like
I
the
feel like a
funniest
lot
thing.
of people from this show went on to do bigger things or just have continuously been working. I mean, Sherry Sam went on to One Life to Live, and she's on Prime Time. She's been on The Fosters, Gossip Girl. She's popped up in everything.
Yeah.
Even
Jason
John,
George.
John, when I was watching it, John went, "Isn't that the?" Well, he said his ex watched The Foster, so he said something not so nice about the ex. But Da used to watch her on The Fosters. I think that's right.
And Sherry Sam. And the funniest thing I read about, they were interviewing Leslie Ann Dowd, who was great. And she was talking about playing Olivia and all. She's had really interesting things to say, but she also mentioned because there's something about, I won't ruin it, but there's something about her and Cole, who was Ashley Hamilton on the show now later, Eddie Cibrian takes over. And she was saying how, because I think she's friends with Ashley's mom, or like their families know each other. So like when they started that storyline, it was Ashley. So she said something about someone asked her like, what was it like to do those scenes with Ashley? And she was like, oh God, like it was very weird and uncomfortable. She's like, I know his mom, or like we're family friends, or like after their first like kissing scene, he said something to her like, oh, I hope like I won't tell my mother we're doing this, or something weird like that. And so she was honest, and she was like, as much as I love Ashley, she was like, I was so glad about the recast because it was a different actor and someone who I don't have a connection with or something. So it's interesting to like hear someone say that or like cop to it, just to be like, it was kind of weird doing these scenes with someone who like is kind of connected to my family, or like I knew his mom, but she was, it was great.
If I remember correctly, they only worked together maybe 1 or 2 days. And
that's what she was saying. It was like really. She was like, "Thank God." She was like, "I love that. It was great, but I would." She was like, "I don't know if I could have done that storyline fully with him in the role." Yeah.
So fun fact: so Ashley Hamilton was actually married to Shannon Doherty when she was on 90210.
Yeah.
Oh.
Very briefly, I think
I remember Ashley back. Ashley was like a big deal because he was married to Shannon. He was sort of like not like the bad boy of Hollywood, but he was very much like out there, and like he would sort of be like how people covered like Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan back then, like that, like he was covered back then with Shannon, and just sort of being out there like a young actor in Hollywood and coming from a famous family, and
he kind of had like a Jamie Walters look to him,
kind of,
something like that,
very like brooding and mysterious,
But you'll meet him next week, Aaron.
But no, I'm with you. I need a reunion. I'd love to see these characters like get together and talk.
Yeah.
Ooh, we should talk to that guy who does the locker room or whatever it is.
To get them together,
Alan, Alan, or I know it's blanking right now, but he should do something.
That would be cool.
Did you guys have a favorite character from the first week, or in general?
Meg. Ooh. I mean, I just related. It reminded me of being that during like younger when I was like, oh my gosh, I want to get out of this town, and just And I love a good when someone gets dumped at the wedding when they're a bad person.
For me, I still love Meg, but like I said, the Annie thing just really took me off. So I'm like a Meg Annie half and half, where before I would have just been like Meg all the way, but I'm kind of like Meg Annie now. I love both characters. I think they're both interesting, and they both have like their own agency. Like watching it now, I'm like, okay, Meg is still nice and sweet, but she's not a pushover either. She's like, she's funky and she's got a little toughness to her, though. I think she's sort of coming into her own, and it's interesting to watch a character like that. Andy's on the mission.
Thank you, Candace.
I would say for the first week, Annie is my favorite character. I just love all the trouble she's getting into. I love how the actress is committing to it, and she's kind of over the top.
She kind of reminds me of season 6 of Melrose Place. There's the redheaded character.
Jamie
was
Oh,
her name?
Jamie Lunars?
Yeah, like that bad girl kind
Oh,
of.
Lexi.
Yeah,
Lexi.
Lexi. Yeah.
Did you guys remember when Sarah Buxton came on Days for a little while? She had a little arc on Days. I forget, someone maybe.
I remember it, but I don't remember what
Yeah,
she did.
me too. It
Like,
was
I
very
remember
brief. It
seeing
wasn't. I remember she still had the big red hair and it was like shoulder length out. And I feel like it was something with like the Demiras or John. I'm forgetting. I should have looked it up. I meant to, but she had a little sort of like maybe couple months stint on there.
Yeah,
If
and
Candy
then
knows and Donald knows, yeah.
I don't know if it was before that or after that. She was on B&B for a few years also.
Oh yeah. Oh good.
Well, she's been on B&B twice because we're watching B&B from the beginning, and she actually had like a side character, like she was one of Donna's friends that was hanging out.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my god, that's Sarah Buxton.
Yeah.
And then she later on, 20 years, maybe 15 years later, played a main character.
Yeah. Every once in a while she'll pop up on something and I'll be like, oh Sarah. Yeah, she deserves so much. Watching her now and reliving her in this, I'm like, girl, you deserve like get you a show because I know she's still out there working, but she deserves so much more. She's so good.
Don knows.
Oh, that's what it was. Oh, that's what it was. The Nicole. Yeah. Okay. I remember doing
Oh,
that.
wow.
The prison cellmate of Marlene is in the porn buddy. Okay.
I will say this: if I had more of
Thanks,
her,
Don.
I think Annie's aunt or Olivia would probably be my favorite. I bet they'll become my favorite the longer they're on.
They
Because
will.
I can tell I already love them, but just based on that first week, I don't get enough of them to say I love them.
You do get a lot more of them coming up in an interesting way.
I'm trying to stay in just this week.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's
but
all
I
you
know I loved Catherine Noon as Mrs. Wallace. Like when she came up, she became like one of my favorite characters ever.
Yeah.
I like that. We'll see more of her too.
Yeah.
She's pretty funny.
She's got range.
All right. Well, do we have anything else to say about this week?
Good first week.
Yeah. Really good first week. Fast paced.
Like being that I've seen Passion's whole first week and Sunset Beach's whole first week, I don't see how Sunset Beach didn't outlive Passions. Even though I'm a huge Passions fan.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Passions fan. I don't see how that one outlasted this one.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah.
All right. Well, tomorrow night we're going to be covering the pilot of Savannah, which stars Jamie Lunar, the redhead we were talking about.
Which is
That's
also
going to
another
be
Eric Cohen show.
That's going to be exclusively on our Patreon for subscribers. And I think we're going to try and squeeze out a One Life to Live episode at the end of this week. We're going to watch a few episodes and talk about that in honor of its cancellation last week, 10 years ago.
That's right. Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna start around 2007 when Farrah Fawcett premiered because we're Days fans, so we had to kind of tie that in. So we're going with what we know. Plus, Aaron has One Life to Live than me, so he can kind of guide me.
Nice. Yeah, it was a show I really, really liked. And Candace is like, "Wait, is this an Aaron Spelling Week?" I guess it is.
I guess so, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
another one gone too soon. Only 2 seasons, right? Or no, we only got 1 season, right?
Yeah, there were 2.
It was a mid-season replacement, and then
that's right. Yeah, and then we got another full season.
Yeah. That was canceled, and then Buffy came.
Yeah. I was a huge Aaron Spelling fan. I did a project on Aaron Spelling in college. That's how much I liked him.
It's so funny because people keep bringing up Malibu Shores, which predated this a little bit. So a lot of the people from Sunset Beach were on Malibu Shores, and that was the one with Kerry Russell and yeah.
We actually we covered that with Candace.
Did you? Oh god! Oh, I love Malibu Shores. That one was like what 6 episodes, maybe, if that.
10.
It was 10. Oh, okay. God. Oh, I need to relive my Malibu Shores.
I might be able to help you out with that.
Oh god! Now I definitely won't do anything else. I'll be from Malibu Shores to Sunset Beach.
Sounding like a soap dealer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Justin.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank
Where
you guys.
can everybody find you on the socials?
You can find me only on Instagram at Justin Lee Harold. yeah, come check me out and check me out on Dishin Days every week, Sundays, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern. And yeah.
Y'all just interviewed Carson
and Dan.
Yeah, and Dan.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're so great. They are. We love when they come on. Like, it's always like a fun, good interview that they always give out a lot of information. And they're always great and really fun guys to interact with on social media, and just really humble, great guys who are just doing the work, and they love soap fans and they love Days, and yeah, they're great.
Candace wants to have a second Malibu Shores.
Yes, I will sign up for that one.
All right, check us out on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. Until next time, have a great night, guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone.